In the heart of our old college building was a forgotten storage room. Known only as Room 302, it was locked for years, its purpose unclear. Whispers among students claimed it had been abandoned after a worker mysteriously vanished during renovations decades ago. Intrigued, my friends and I decided to investigate one evening after classes. The door was heavy and resisted our initial efforts to open it. When it finally creaked ajar, a musty smell filled the air. The room was dimly lit by a single flickering bulb, and its contents were chaotic: broken desks, old typewriters, and yellowing papers scattered everywhere. We ventured deeper. Oddly, the air grew colder the further we went. Then, a peculiar sound echoed, a rhythmic tapping like fingers drumming on a hollow surface. We froze, exchanging nervous glances, but curiosity pushed us onward. The sound grew louder, then stopped altogether. As we reached the back of the room, we noticed something odd. The wall was cracked, revealing a dark cavity beyond it. One of us, braver than the rest, reached in and pulled out a rusted box. Inside were strange artifacts: a set of keys, a faded photograph, and an old journal. The journal's pages were blank except for one that read, "Do not disturb." At that moment, the bulb above us shattered, plunging the room into darkness. The door slammed shut with a deafening thud. Panicked, we scrambled to find our way out. The tapping resumed, this time all around us, accompanied by faint whispers we couldn't understand. One of my friends screamed as something unseen brushed past him. We burst out of the room, gasping for air, and vowed never to return. The next day, the door to room 302 was sealed again. To this day, none of us can explain what happened, but every time I pass by that corridor, I feel the tapping echo in my chest. It was midnight at Crestwood College, and the entire campus was silent except for the eerie rustle of wind through the old library's broken windows. Rachel, a sophomore, was burning the midnight oil to prepare for her history exam the next morning. Known for her curiosity, she decided to visit the restricted archives room after a rumor spread about an ancient book that could help students pass any exam. The archives were in the basement, a dimly lit labyrinth of forgotten knowledge. She found the door slightly ajar, as if inviting her in. Against her better judgment, she stepped inside. Dust hung heavy in the air, and shadows danced under the flickering fluorescent light. In the center of the room was a pedestal holding a book bound in cracked leather. Its title read Mortis Cognitio, the knowledge of the dead. Ignoring the warnings etched in Latin on the cover, Rachel opened the book. Instantly, a cold wind swirled around her, extinguishing the dim light. A whisper echoed, "What do you seek?" Trembling, she whispered, "Answers to tomorrow's exam." The book's pages turned by themselves, revealing answers, but each word seemed alive, crawling like inked insects. Without realizing it, Rachel began to read aloud. The room turned icy and the whispers turned into wails. Suddenly, the shadows came alive, clawing their way out of the walls. Rachel screamed, slamming the book shut, but the shadows continued to close in. She ran for the exit, but the basement door was gone. Only solid brick remained. Her phone's flashlight flickered, illuminating a figure. A faceless professor with hollow eyes and a skeletal grin. "You sought forbidden knowledge," it rasped. "Now pay the price." The figure lunged at her, and everything went dark. The next morning, Rachel's roommate found her lying on her bed, pale and lifeless, with the Mortis Cognitio on her desk. Her exam paper was completed perfectly, but the last answer was scrawled in blood. The library was sealed that same week, but students swear they can still hear Rachel's screams echoing through the basement. Some say if you try to find the archives after midnight, the faceless professor will guide you to the book, and to your doom. It was the winter of 2018, and the students of Elmwood College were busy preparing for their finals. Amid the chaos, a chilling story made its way around the campus, a tale of room 304 in the East Dormitory. Officially, the room was under maintenance, but everyone knew the truth. Something strange and sinister had happened there, and no one dared to go near it. One night, Emma, a second-year student, accidentally locked herself out of her own room. With no other option, she decided to spend the night in the infamous room 304. Ignoring the rumors, she stepped inside. The room was dark and cold, with a faint smell of mildew. Dust covered every surface, but it seemed ordinary enough. Emma set her books on the desk, plugged in her headphones, and began to study. Around midnight, the atmosphere shifted. A faint tapping sound came from the window. Emma looked up, but there was nothing there. She dismissed it as the wind and returned to her work. Moments later, the tapping grew louder, accompanied by a soft, raspy whisper, "Leave." Her heart started pounding as she scanned the empty room. Suddenly, the lights flickered and her books tumbled to the floor. The whispers intensified, turning into a blood-curdling scream. Panicked, Emma grabbed her phone to use its flashlight, but the screen was black. Her fully charged phone was now dead. That's when she saw it. In the corner of the room stood a dark, shadowy figure with hollow eyes, staring straight at her. Paralyzed with fear, Emma bolted from the room, not even stopping to grab her belongings. The next morning, she returned with a friend to retrieve her things, but the room was completely empty. No books, no signs she had ever been there. Emma refused to speak about what had happened. To this day, room 304 remains sealed, and students still claim to hear whispers and eerie sounds coming from within.